This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, Invercargill and Bluff property values have risen over the last 3 years. A victim's family says an 11-year sentence is not long enough in a brutal murder case. And a tour of the yachting world's top prize has drawn big crowds in the southern region. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Property values in Invercargill and Bluff have seen a moderate rise over the past 3 years, according to Quotable Value. While the overall valuation rise for the city sits at just over 18%, some areas have increased more than others. Sharon Rees has more.
South of the tracks, Invercargill South City saw a 25.3% rise in residential values in QV's triennial rating revaluation. Areas such as Appleby and Kew saw residential values rise by at least 20%, while areas at the top end of the market, such as Otatara, saw a 17% rise for residential properties. Invercargill Deputy Mayor Rebecca Amunzin says the South Invercargill areas have had a bad rap and that changing perceptions could be the reason behind the bigger increase.
It seems to be a bit of a rebalancing of a perception that was quite imbalanced of the difference between North Invercargill and South Invercargill house prices, and so I think that it's really good that we've got that sort of rebalancing happening.
She said the rejuvenation projects which focus on South City have contributed to the rise in the area.
Lots of people have commented that South Alive is probably contributing to that, and the perception of the area is changing as a result of some of the work that they've been doing there.
Professionals real estate manager John Irving said the whole city's valuations had increased in line with the normal national trends. He said the rise came from low interest rates, inflation and the housing boom in the North Island, and that houses had been flatlining for the past 7 years, meaning they were bound to increase. New rating values are available on the City Council's website. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
The Taxpayers Union believes Otago residents deserve to know why former Chief Executive of Delta, Grady Cameron, received a payout of nearly $1 million. The union's Executive Director, Jordan Williams, says Delta and its former CEO should reveal the reasons for the payout. Grady Cameron resigned earlier this year and the organisation is refusing to give details of the payout, citing a confidentiality agreement. The Taxpayers Union says where Delta is a council-owned company, ratepayers have a right to know. 60-year-old Stephen Finlay of Seacliff has been jailed for 11 years for the murder of his neighbour. Finlay pleaded guilty in the High Court to the murder of 54-year-old Sharon Diane Comerfield. Rosal Labone has more.
Stephen Finlay was due to appear in Dunedin's High Court last week for bludgeoning his neighbour, 54-year-old Sharon Diane Comerford, to death. Instead, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced by Justice Rachel Dunningham to a term of life imprisonment this morning with the minimum non-parole period. The 60-year-old Seacliff man has been jailed for at least 11 years. The victim's sisters, Jackie Comerford and Debbie Ogle, told the media outside the High Court today their sister was tragically and brutally taken from them. Jackie Comerford says the sentence is not long enough.
I don't know that 11 years was long enough in my view. I think 17, as the judge said, couldn't be imposed.
Finlay was found at Truby King Reserve with a firearm and self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the face on the morning of March 8 last year. Medical examinations revealed Comerford was beaten to death with a blunt object with at least 12 blows to the head. Roselle Labone, The South Today.
Queenstown's Lady of the Lake, the TSS Earnslaw steamship, is turning 105 tomorrow. The oldest surviving passenger steamship in the Southern Hemisphere made its maiden voyage on October the 18th, 1912. The vintage steamship was commissioned by the New Zealand Railways to ferry passengers and stock to and from isolated high country stations. It is now operated as a tourist venture by Rail Journeys. The America's Cup has been sailing around the southern regions over the past few days. The yachting's world's top prize has been enchanting crowds in Oamaru, Timaru, Wanaka, and today made it to Bluff. Daryl Baser tracked the Old Mugs Southern Tour.
The America's Cup is truly New Zealand's Cup, as it's currently on a tour of the South Island. Over the past few days, the Old Mug has been to Timaru, Oamaru, Wanaka, and is today in the deep south. In Timaru, hundreds of residents gathered at the Yacht and Powerboat Club to see the America's Cup in all its well-polished glory, and to meet members of Emirates Team New Zealand. In Oamaru, the Commodore of the North Otago Yacht Club says the organisation and town appreciated the visit.
I think it is because we're a small town, and this will be so good for our kids and the growth in our sailing here now. And it's quite a special time. And I saw some of the kids' faces that do sail here, and man, they're just over the moon.
His sentiments are shared by his daughters, who were responsible for getting Emirates Team New Zealand to bring the trophy to Oamaru.
So we made a video towards ETNZ and hoped that they would come down here, and they have.
Did you ever expect them to, or was it sort of like one of those?
No, not to Oamaru.
Team New Zealand veteran of 8 America's Cup campaigns, Curly Salthouse, says they're pleased to bring the Cup around to young sailors.
You know, it's important that, you know, for the future of the Cup and for the future of sailing, that we, you know, that we get these young kids into it early and get them excited about sailing. And it doesn't matter what they're sailing, it's just about getting them out on the water and doing it.
From Oamaru, the Cup and entourage travelled across to Wanaka, where about 250 people took photos, before the Cup moved to the Wakatipu Yacht Club later in the afternoon. The Cup was in Invercargill and Bluff today, before heading back north. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, a holiday program in Greymouth helps to create budding electronic experts, and a mummy gets a makeover at the Otago Museum.
For all your news from the southern regions as it happens, go to our Facebook page. The South Today, connecting you with your community thanks to New Zealand On Air.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Just think, 80 years ago, this year, my grandfather set up Alex Campbell Menswear right on Cargill's Corner in South Dunedin. We've had some great years bringing Otago and Southland the very best of menswear for both business and everyday needs.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
The University of Otago, an institute of world-class education and the social epicentre of the city, with outfits needed for more formal functions like the ball and for less formal functions like...
The zoo? Are you sure?
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, Dad, you'll definitely see me. I'm the one in the yellow and blue face paint and the onesie in the zoo.
Don't suffer in silence. Call Sunny Chin, Chi Master Body Technician, for structural, muscular, emotional bodywork. Phone 03 4250 606 for all your pain relief.
We're a 25 Moray Place at Dog with Tails Cafe and Bar. So we take coffee very seriously. We do what's called contract roasting, so we're creating our own roasting profile and then doing our own blends. We're really focused on the craft of what we're doing. You know, we're going back, instead of going on mass-produced sort of cheap things, we're taking the time to really craft what we're making. make it so anyone can come here and have a feed and be able to get something they're able to eat or that they want to eat as well. You're kind of getting a taste of cafes from all around the world when you come here.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 15 years. New doors, replacement doors, repairs and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team at 553 Kaikoura Valley Road. Visit www.garrador.co.nz or call us on 488 5676.
Welcome back. Greymouth children were given the chance to learn more about electronics during a holiday program last week. The South Today was there to film budding electronic experts.
The Introduction to Electronics holiday program had tutor Eric Martini teaching the young pupils to understand and identify components, plus how to solder.
This is the introduction to electronics. So the idea is just to introduce the kids to electronics, and we're looking at doing things like soldering, identifying components, and we've got a wee project that they are assembling at the moment. So once they've identified the components, they put them on the board and then they solder it.
We've been learning on how to solder things together, and we've been doing a project where it's a metal detector, and metal detector, detects metal, obviously, and we've got these little connected things that help electricity travel between certain parts.
Three things they're going to learn is soldering, identifying components, so they know the difference between a resistor and capacitor and other bits and pieces that we have in the kit, and also how to identify, so with things like resistors, they've got codes on them, like colour codes, and so they're working out how to identify the actual component, the value of these components.
The pupils were able to take home their completed electronics project at the end of the 3-hour course. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Local ingenuity has helped resurrect a 2,400-year-old mummy. Real human hair, a new hairdo and a touch of makeup was employed, and the team behind the research for the facial reconstruction is also all local.
This mummy has been with the Otago Museum for over 100 years, but it's only just now we're seeing her face. Thanks to a local team of researchers and beauticians, she's been brought to life. Dr. Louisa Bailey says there have been many advances in digital technology since the first reconstruction was done in 2008. New software has achieved distinct separation of bone from soft tissues from CT scans and X-rays, something not possible previously.
So we've been able to go back and examine people from MRIs or cone beam CT scans or CT scans and actually use the maths to say, is this prediction correct or should we change it? So I was able to use up-to-date predictions with known evidence.
Scientific, artistic and historical research was carried out by the University of Otago Anatomy Department and Faculty of Dentistry, while local businesses chipped in with hair and makeup.
The hair itself came from local wig makers. We had some powder put on her face near the end. Estee Lauder, the manager there called Jill, helped with that. And the styling of the hair was done by Nicole at Zaibatsu.
The mummy is thought to be from Thebes, with typical facial features from that region. Bailey says the woman would have been about 50 and in poor health when she died. The reconstructed face is specific to the woman, reflecting her likely heritage, social status, age and health at time of death. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
The Rakaia Gorge was filled with the roar of racing jet boats today, with some of the world's fastest boats competing. The South Today followed the noise.
Today saw some of the world's fastest jet boats roaring up the Rakaia Gorge as part of the UIM World Jet Boat Marathon. The boats had left Rakaia Lagoon near the coast at 10 a.m. and first arrived at the Rakaia Gorge, 85 kilometres inland, only 35 minutes later. Some of the boats having reached speeds of 150 kilometres per hour and higher. Wednesday sees the racing continuing further south on the Waitaki River, with boats departing from Te Maiharoa Road at 10 in the morning. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
After the break on The South Today, we catch up with this week's Dunedin Heritage Festival events, and singer-songwriter Grace Jones announces her first ever New Zealand show in Queenstown next year.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Just think, 80 years ago, this year, my grandfather set up Alex Campbell Menswear right on Cargill's Corner in South Dunedin. We've had some great years, bringing Otago and Southland the very best of menswear for both business and everyday needs.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Don't suffer in silence. Call Sunny Chin, Chi Master Body Technician for structural, muscular, emotional bodywork. Phone 03 4250 606 for all your pain relief.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
For 3 generations, the Kilpatrick family have ensured Jimmy's pies are still world famous in the South Island. Made to an old family recipe, Jimmy's pies have been one of New Zealand's traditional takeaway foods, prepared daily on the premises alongside a range of savouries, sausage rolls and cakes. Jimmy's pies are distributed throughout the lower South Island. Jimmy's pies are sure to satisfy your travelling munchies.
From rare to the recent, visit the legendary Hard to Find for your quality second-hand books. With the largest stock in New Zealand and a friendly book-loving atmosphere. For good prices, buying or selling, come visit 20 Dowling Street.
Thanks for staying with us. Dunedin's Heritage Festival is now in its second week with numerous events available to the public on a daily basis. Wednesday includes an evening lecture about Dunedin's architectural history. The South Today found out a little more.
Dunedin is well known for its historic architecture, and heritage volunteer Anne Barsby feels that the buildings remain here in part due to the vision of the city's forefathers.
And there were entrepreneurs who were very happy to spend and trust their luck, but they did build wonderful buildings that have lasted. They're not here today, gone tomorrow.
This year's Lawson Lecture on Historic Architecture is a look at Patrick Wales, the first New Zealand-born architect from the family of famous Dunedin architects. The lecture will examine his designs, such as this house on Stewart Street. Barsby thinks the current restoration projects are a good thing for the city.
Yes, we've got an enormous debt to people like Laurie Forbes and William Cockerell and Steve McKnight and Russell Lund and others who are really making a huge difference to preserving and conserving Dunedin's special character, and also changing the perception. They're using it and they've turned it around to be an asset, which is a worldwide phenomenon, and thank goodness we're doing that.
The Lawson Lecture on the second generation of Mason and Wells is at 7 p.m. Wednesday at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Singer-songwriter Grace Jones will perform her first ever New Zealand show in Queenstown next year. Supermodel, actor and singer Grace Jones is a style icon and has been pushing the boundaries in music, fashion, art and life since the 1970s. The 69-year-old singer is scheduled to perform a one-off South Island show at the Queenstown Events Centre in March next year. Rainbow runs were held around the region as a way of fundraising and getting the community together. The South Today got amongst the action and tried not to get hit with flying coloured dye.
The racecourse just north of Oamaru was the location on Saturday for the annual Rainbow Confectionery Run, which had about 600 entrants pelted with coloured dye. Sport Waitaki coordinator Rhiannon McLean said the race was to raise funds to provide children with sports equipment.
The colour run is kind of loosely based on the religious festival in India, Holi, which is like a really colourful festival where they throw coloured powders and stuff around, and it's really awesome, super colourful and fun. So we've kind of taken that concept and brought it here to Oamaru with the Rainbow Run. There's colour runs all over the place, but this is specifically the Rainbow Run, and it's a Sport Otago event that happens in Oamaru, Dunedin, Balclutha and Alexandra. And here in Oamaru as well, it's a fundraiser for the Sporting Chance charity, which is a locally administered charity which gives money to kids for sports gear where finances are a barrier to them participating in sport.
And in Alexandra, a similar event was held over the weekend as well. Back in Oamaru, Youth Council member Joel said the event helped bond the community.
What we do is we just get involved in events like this around the community and do good stuff around the community to improve the life of the community pretty much. And things like this was really fun to get into. Get pretty dirty sometimes, but yeah, it's good fun.
Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Thank you. Cheers to that.
Queenstown resident Gigi Hollier has seen many things change in the town over the 41 years she has lived there. However, one thing disappoints her, the lack of long-term planning. Mina Amso profiles one of Queenstown's most community-minded residents.
Gigi Hollier cycles into Queenstown most days. It is a town she has seen grow from a population of 2,000 people in the 70s to now of up to 100,000, with permanent residents and many more visitors and their vehicles.
You know, more buildings. I remember the building boom of the 80s when O'Connell's Pavilion was built. That used to be O'Connell's Hotel when I was a child.
That's when Queenstown really turned into a modern tourist town, she says. But she is shocked with the lack of strategic planning.
And that's been to the detriment of the community over the last 2 years, really.
The lack of planning, she says, is especially noticeable in Frankton.
And I really feel that the airport is right in the middle of a potential community hub with all the shops and things that are out there and new schools and things that have been developed out there, but they're split by this airport that's in the middle.
Which she says is nonsensical.
I mean, I think the airport obviously needs to stay where it is, but could you have done more housing on one side and retail on another side rather than have it split? Because at the moment you've now effectively split the new retail developments. You know, everyone's sort of gone from Remarkables Park over to 5 Mile, and you want to go and do jobs, and you've literally got to go around in circles to get those jobs done.
But she says the one thing that hasn't changed for her is the community. People still look after each other when things get tough, and that's why she's still here. Mina Amso, The South Today.
Next Friday.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. Property values in Invercargill and Bluff have seen a moderate rise over the past 3 years, according to Quotable Value. 60-year-old Seacliff man Stephen Finley has been jailed for at least 11 years for murdering his neighbour Sharon Diane Comerfield. And the America's Cup has been sailing around southern regions over the past few days, enchanting crowds in Oamaru, Timaru, Wanaka and today made it to Invercargill. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome back, Phil Somerville.
Yes, hi Melissa.
And that's a lovely photo you've got
of some
there.
of the stalwarts of the Otago Rugby Supporters Club, which is closing up. Society's changed and interests have changed, and it goes on its way. So a nice send-off for a few people there.
I was going to say that's a fantastic photo for a send-off.
Yeah. Fresh pages, fresh spring herbs. There's a beetroot salad recipe. It's interesting, beetroot's really become quite popular these days.
Because it's fantastic, that's why.
That's what they say. Story about nuts and a barista uncovered. News pages, we've got more about Grace Jones in reaction to that in Queenstown. The sad Seacliff murder with Stephen Finlay. Rob Kidd, the court reporters, explains a lot of what's happened and what's gone on there. And mention that the DCC is going to put out for public consultation the plan that there be a sinking lid on the number of pokies in Dunedin.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting, and it's a fantastic read in tomorrow's ODT. Once again, thank you, Phil. And now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Silberhorn Collagen Plus.
Today's southern view is of Kowhai Flowers in South Dunedin. Looking at this situation, a large anticyclone will move closer to northerlies tomorrow and Thursday. Warm air from Australia will arrive on Thursday, bringing a lovely day before southwesterlies and showers develop again at the end of the week. Looking at the south, Balclutha, Catlins, Gore and Lumsden can all expect light winds and fine weather with 14 degrees. Travelling westward to central, Alexandra and Wanaka have light winds, fine weather and 15. The same for Queenstown with 14 degrees and 14 in Tiana, as well as moderate westerlies and also fine. Further north, everyone has fine weather with light winds, 13 for Timaru and Oamaru and 15 further inland at Twizel and Amarama. And here in Dunedin, showers clear tonight with a chilly overnight low of 4. Fine tomorrow with some cloud and northeasterlies developing, 13 and 7. Lovely and warmer on Thursday with a high of 21 with northerly winds developing and long sunny periods. The evening sees an overnight low of 11, so it's something to look forward to on Thursday, Dunedin. And in Invercargill, some cloud tonight with a chill low of 3. Fine and sunny tomorrow with light westerly winds, 14 and 8. Modest northwesterlies freshening on Thursday with high crowd increasing, but you can enjoy a warm 19 degrees. Some rain at night with an overnight low of 8. And that's our news for this Tuesday. For the latest news from the South Today team, you can follow us on Facebook and at channel39.co.nz. I hope you all have a great evening. Take care. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.